I patted Anna on the backside and she smiled in response. Little did I know, our boss happened to witness the whole thing. He walked up to me and made up an excuse, criticizing my report for being full of errors. Then, right in front of everyone, he announced I was fired. I stood there stunned, knowing he was just using this as an excuse to get back at me. I packed my things and headed to the lobby, where I saw a man sneakily take someone else's briefcase before stepping into the elevator. Curious, I followed him and noticed he went to the 34th floor, the same floor as my former office. I decided to take the elevator back up to investigate. As soon as I stepped into the hallway, I saw something horrifying. The same man shot a coworker dead. Then, the killer dragged the body into a nearby room. I ducked into the restroom, but when I pushed open the stall door, I found a dead security guard on the toilet. I moved closer to check, accidentally triggering the automatic flush sensor, which scared me half to death. Just then, I heard footsteps outside, so I quickly shut the door and stood on the toilet, not daring to make a sound. The killer walked in and started washing blood off his face. Noticing the keys on the guard's belt, I realized things were about to get worse. I carefully stepped down and crawled under the partition into the next stall. The killer pushed open the door, took the guard's gun and radio, then left the restroom. A few minutes later, I made a run for it. I rushed into the office and turned off the lights, only to bump into my coworker Roger. I told him everything, and we decided to escape together, but the killer had already shut down the elevators. We tried the stairs, but the exit door was locked. With no other choice, we returned to the office. Then, we heard footsteps approaching. Roger and I immediately hid under a desk. The killer walked in, noticed the computer was still on, but didn't think much of it. He turned it off and left. Once we were sure he was gone, we crawled out and kept searching for a way out. Remembering the boss was still working late, I told Roger to call the police while I went to warn him. But when I got to his office, he was nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, Roger found a phone, but instead of calling 911, he called his wife. As soon as she answered, the killer appeared behind him. The killer tapped Roger on the shoulder and told him to say goodnight to her. Then, he pressed the gun to Roger's head and asked if anyone else was still in the office. Trembling, Roger said he was alone. The killer turned to leave. Just as Roger sighed in relief, the killer suddenly came back and strangled him with a rope. A few minutes later, I quietly returned to the office. I grabbed my phone from my desk and tried to call 911, but the battery was dead. I plugged it in to charge. When I turned around, I saw Roger's lifeless body. I froze in terror, then heard the killer returning. I ducked out of sight just in time. The killer came in and started moving the body, so I slipped into a supply closet. But when I turned around, I found a female coworker's corpse. And then, the killer dragged another body straight toward me.